Hi everyone, thanks for having us all up here. It's been fantastic to be up in Byron again. I actually lived here about 11 years ago for 2 years, and it was great while it lasted, but I sadly had to go back to Sydney. So I'll just talk a little bit about Screen New South Wales and what we do. I've only actually been at the organisation since February this year, and I've only been Head of Development and Production for about 8 weeks. So I'm new in the job, and my CEO, Courtney Gibson, is also quite new in the job there. She came on board, she worked at Channel 9 and ABC and SBS, and we had crossed paths many times. So she started there November last year, and I came on board February this year. So there's been a lot of changes in the organisation. We're the state funding agency for New South Wales, so we fund productions who shoot in New South Wales or post-produce in New South Wales, but across a whole range of different genres, and there are some genres we don't fund as well, which I'll go into later. First slide. So so that's what we do. We've got a really kind of broad brief. We've got limited money compared to the other state agencies, even though we have 60% of the producers in the country that live in New South Wales. So we've got the most kind of filmmakers and producers, but actually probably a growing budget, but still quite small, for what we want to do. So what we try to do is actually really target our money and leverage it with other state agencies, federal agencies, and also form partnerships with broadcasters, and new emerging technologies as well. So we try and leverage our money, and so it actually goes further and further, and to make the most of what we've got, really. So we fund development. So as program makers like yourselves, we actually, end of last year, we changed our guidelines to really kind of lower the barrier of entry for development for producers, directors and writers. So if you're a writer now, you can actually come to us and apply for early development at any stage, at any time in the year. There's no specific round that it's attached to, but you can come to us with no producer attached and apply for early development. And you can apply with a treatment, an outline, a synopsis, and if you've got some runs on the board, you can actually, we'll fund you to develop that idea further. So that's one thing that's changed. It's made it easier for writers to actually then develop their work to the next level, where they may then want to get a producer attached or a director attached. So we'll fund, and look, early development could be anything from $5,000 to $20,000. That's kind of our kind of top end, and we'll fund developing treatments if it's a TV series, hopefully episode breakdowns, and that will go towards those costs. We don't fund optioning of books or try not to fund legal fees. So when you do apply to us, try and keep it really tight in terms of what you're requesting, and also about think about where the money should be going. We prefer the money to be going to writers to develop their ideas further, so they can take it to that next level. So within development, we've got early stage development, then we've got advanced stage development. Now advanced stage, you can then apply for advanced stage if you've already had early development, and that means we like then to see you've got a creative team attached, you've got a producer, you've got a possible director or suggested director, you've got some market interest, either from a network like Foxtel, for example, or from a sales agent or distributor overseas, or distributor in Australia, so if it's a feature film. So we like to see that there's market interest. As I said, our funds are tight. We don't like to put money into something that actually is not going to go anywhere eventually. So it'd be really good to see that market interest at that point. So that's what we like to see. I mean, there's a whole range of different types of content that we fund. We fund TV series, feature films, documentary series, factual features, like big theatrical factuals. We fund web, online series, interactive series. We recently went into moving into virtual reality. We had a big virtual reality day, which I'll talk a little bit about later. So, half-hour comedy narrative comedies, we fund those. So, you know, there's a whole range of different shows. We don't fund panel shows, entertainment shows. Most of the shows I used to do at the ABC, we don't fund, basically. But that's just, you know, because, you know, those shows are serviced by the networks already. You know, those, you know, panel shows and types of programs like that are already well serviced, so we don't need to fund those. So advanced development, so you can apply for up to $50,000. That's very unusual to get $50,000 from advanced development from us. But you know, most requests are about $20,000, and that goes towards some producer costs as well, and you know, draft stages. And then we've got within development. What's my next slide in there? Oh yeah. So look, we had a what we also do is we try and do some development initiatives or production initiatives with different broadcasters and networks. We had this 360 Vision virtual reality initiative in June this year. It was actually one of my babies that I created when I started there. And that was actually in partnership with the ABC, with Screen Australia, with Event Cinemas, and with Afters as well came on board. So that was like a big development day where it was invitation only. We ended up filming it, so you can actually watch all the panels and everything we had online now. But it was a day where we wanted to immerse producers and directors and writers who work in traditional kind of storytelling. We wanted to immerse them and get them to kind of start thinking about virtual reality, because we think it's a really interesting new frontier. So we brought out some international speakers who were at the Sundance VR Lab. Rose Trochet, who is the creator of the L Word. She's moved into virtual reality. Lynette Warworth is one of the mentors on it. She's done an amazing, beautiful virtual reality short film called Collisions, which tells the story of an Indigenous man's first contact with with Western culture, was actually watching the bombs going off in Maralinga in his country. And that's told in virtual reality. And she's taken that film now all around the world and screened at Davos and you know, economic forums. So it's a really powerful medium. So we wanted to actually encourage writers and producers and directors to actually think about that medium. And then we also brought in a lot of people who are already working in virtual reality. There's a lot of technologists who are already working in that field, and we tried to marry them together. So we had a big day, kind of got them all in headsets. They watched Collisions, and then we told them to go away and to come back to us with some ideas 6 weeks later, and we'll fund those in conjunction with the ABC. So that's closed now. We've got over 50 applications. So we're now looking to fund up to 6 virtual reality pieces of content. They're all short form, but we've got some amazing ideas and applications for that. Factual, fiction, comedy, serious kind of thriller drama. So some really great ideas. So we try and do things like that where we're bringing industry people together, create you know, new ways of telling stories as well. So that was one of the initiatives we did. We've done other ones where, you know, we're doing a theatrical arts doc initiative with the ABC as well, with ABC Arts, where we want to fund big theatrical arts documentaries. And you know, we're doing, you know, hopefully doing some drama series later in the year as well. Okay, next slide. What's that one? Oh, Amplify. So Amplify is we launched this just recently this year. So we used to have a script development program called Aurora, which ran for many, many years and was very successful. But it needed a bit of a reboot. It's for feature films. And so we decided that, you know, everyone's talking about adaptations. There have been so many amazing adaptations coming out of Australia in the last year. Jasper Jones, can't wait to see that one. We funded that as well. But so we thought, okay, let's really target and think about how we want to reboot Aurora. So we decided this year we wanted to do it as adaptations. So it's called Amplify Adaptations. So it's still open for applications. So it's a feature film development fund where we will fund probably up to 4 teams, creative teams, who come to us with an adaptation idea that they want to develop. And it's a longer form process. It'll probably take 18 months to 2 years. But the reason that is we wanted to really tailor make this program to suit each project. So we'll attach international mentors. We'll really give your project the love and care it needs to actually further develop it to the stage where it's ready for production. It's a kind of bespoke development process that'll be tailor-made for each project. And each team will get up to $30,000 and plus all that kind of support. We want to bring the market in early to give market feedback early, because what we've found, I think, Penny and the others probably have a similar point of view, is that often there's writers, banging away, writing their script for years and in a dark room somewhere or light room, but they've never had market input into it. They've never gone to the market and said, well, what is it you actually want? Is this something that will get sold? Is this something that will get made? So we want to involve the market really early to actually give that feedback to make sure the project has the best opportunity to get made. I think that's really important. I think too many times people are not getting the market in early enough to give them that feedback, and that it will inform the creative process.